Welcome to Geeks versus Nerds, the debate-style program where we investigate topics no one else has the guts, tenacity, or interest to investigate. The object of the show is simple. Secure the title for your team's candidate using facts, obscure knowledge, and trash talk. Tonight, Harliquin versus River Tam on Geeks versus Nerds! Why would you give the person who has mind-blowing psychic abilities the training to escape your evil clutches? Why? Evil organizations are really dropping the ball in the future. I'm looking at you, OCP. River was enhanced by an evil organization. She was already talented, intelligent, graceful, brilliant. She was vivacious and full of life. It's sickening. Really, I would have cut into her brain just out of spite. They expended huge amounts of resources and manpower trying to track her down when all they really had to do was wait 14 episodes. River Tam is pretty, deadly, and bug nuts. It's the Whedon trifecta. But does that make her the deadliest escape lunatic? No! Harliquin is bat nuts. Not crazy, she's insane with a capital G. Yeah! But that is just poor planning on the side of Arkham Asylum staff. If you have a woman whose name can easily be shortened into a clown joke, probably being assigned as the Joker's psychiatrist is a bad idea. And there's no question that Harley is a deadly combatant. She regularly goes toe-to-toe with Batman while wearing a corset. I have some questions about that. However, when you see a woman like that walking down the street, you can't help but ask yourself, what in the hell is she doing with a clown like that? Harliquin makes her boyfriend look reasonable, but does that make her the deadliest escape lunatic? No! That's what we're here to find out. Let's meet the geeks and nerds. For Team Geek and your geek leader, Harliquin's not the only one with a secret cache of weapons. This girl's packing a pair of deadly bazookas. It's Ivy Jones. Bam, pow, bang. She's known as the Machine, so this is no joke. It's Lindy Johnson. Like Mr. J says, even adorable things can be dangerous. It's Missy Brown. And for River Tam, Team Nerd, and your nerd herder, it's her lifetime goal to be the cream in a Jane and saffron cookie sandwich. Please welcome Christy Lee. This girl wants to marry someone with a very specific last name. Only then can she become the next Mal Reynolds. It's Mallory Moore. I don't believe that there's a power in the verse that can stop her from being cheerful. Sometimes you just want to duct tape her mouth shut and dump her in the hold for a month. It's Amanda Gaul.
Ready? Begin.
Okay, so welcome, Geeks and Nerds. It is the opening round. Geeks, please explain to me why Harliquin is the most dangerous escape lunatic. You have 2 minutes. Begin.
Harliquin, f***ing crazy. First of all, how do you go around outside like this and not expect to be heckled? Harley has been inoculated against every single poison because she's BFFs with Poison Ivy. Being BFFs with Poison Ivy, serious street cred. That bitch is also crazy. She's driven to do everything that she does by how much she cares about Joker. All she wants to do is see him laugh. She has absolutely zero regard for human life. In an episode of the animated series, she was driving around in a car with Poison Ivy. A couple boys pull up next to her. They're harassing her, making a couple comments that Fat Apollo would be extremely proud of. And she whips out a bazooka and blows them all apart.
The weapons she has are like hyenas, a bazooka, a brick inside a rubber chicken, a gun that shoots out a flag reading bang. She works as a psychiatrist at Arkham Asylum. Hardly knows how to get in and out easily.
When she had escaped from Arkham and was painting the town red in her funny version of My Bloody Valentine, the call goes out to Batman, because who else is going to catch Harley but Batman? And he says, and I quote, "I've been one step behind you all day. I've seen the damage that you've done, and at some point I just decided it would be easier to get the Joker than you." That's Batman talking about his arch nemesis, the #1 supervillain on Wizard's list of all-time villains. Easier to catch than our girl Harley.
Well said. Moving on to the nerds. Nerds, you have 2 minutes. Please explain to me why River Tam is the deadliest escaped lunatic. Begin.
Picture this, people. Reavers. Abominations whose only drive is to commit the most unbelievable atrocities on anyone unlucky enough to wander into the Outer Rim.
Dun, dun, dun!
Now, picture River standing victorious on a pile of them. Not one or two, a pile. There were like 5,000 of those motherfuckers. And not one scratch on her. She wasn't even panting. If anything, she looked slightly invigorated. River's reflexes are perfect, her movements graceful and pristine, nothing is wasted. In war stories, she demonstrated that her aim with ranged weapons is flawless, and that was without looking at people. In Serenity, she proved just as capable with melee weapons, warm tendrils of Reaver gut sliding off the blade of her battle axe. Garnish all of that with unquantifiable psychic abilities and a liberal smattering of Goram crazy. And there's no contest, people. River Tam is the deadliest and shiniest escaped lunatic.
After intense experimentation at the Academy, River was partially transformed into a mentally unstable psychic weapon intended for secret governmental use.
It's really easy, folks. I mean, just plain in black and white, deadly. The girl is a built weapon by this insane government that controls the universe without them even knowing how wrong they're doing. She escaped. She escaped them. They're the top Alliance Academy. And a lunatic. I mean, the government f***ed with her brain. She's already a 17-year-old girl. Do you guys remember being 17? I remember being 17, and I was crazy, but not that crazy.
Very nice. It is time to give out the tokens, and for the tokens, we have a stick shaped like a gun. It's not what you think it is. And a gun shaped like a gun. The tokens can be turned in to counter reply to one argument only. Finish him. So now, Geeks, you have 2 minutes. It is the attack round. Please explain to me why River is not the deadliest escaped lunatic. Begin.
First of all, she has to be lucid to use her psychic powers. She's lucid so infrequently that it's so unreliable, there's no point. Also, she only becomes violent when she's pushed. She never seeks out to be violent. You know, when she attacked the Reavers, it was because they were eating and raping her friends to death. I don't know how you'd react to that, but I think it'd be pretty poorly.
Usually her brother and the crew are the ones rescuing her. You can't really rely on her psychic abilities because she turns into a nervous wreck and kind of hides in a corner.
Protecting River is the backbone of no less than 5 episodes. When she's not busy being rescued, she's occupied being babysat. She does not want to harm or hurt, to the point that she won't let people touch the weapon. And the reason they had to make that policy, the no touching guns, she was too crazy to figure out the difference between that stick and a gun.
She also has no kill count of real people. She hasn't killed a single actual person. How many people has Harley killed? In the span of an episode, she's killed 4 in a minute.
Oh, we got a token being turned in. What point would you care to address?
The fact that she's killed no people. Reavers were not descended from Care Bears or Fraggles.
Well said. And that's the end of the Geeks' turn. Moving over to the Nerds. Nerds, you have 2 minutes. Please explain to me why Harley is not the most dangerous escape lunatic. Begin.
Please, a naive graduate student with limited experience in gymnastics, that's not deadly. That's the core demographic of Dancing with the Stars. There's a reason Christopher Nolan passed her over while in the process of restoring elegance and mystique to Gotham City. She's a shtick, a goofy, brainless foil to the Joker's mad genius. At worst, she's a tragic portrayal of the codependent woman whose only perceived value lies in the attention and affirmation of her abusive lover.
I have a token being turned in.
At best, she's a flotation device.
Okay, well, I'm pretty sure I know what point you would like to address, but tell me anyway.
Harley has done a ton of shit on her own. She's ventured off dozens of times and been extremely successful. In Preludes and Knock Knock Jokes, her own trade, she assembles her own team of thugs and carries out a series of extremely successful heists, burglaries, murders, and just general beatings for joy. And you can take that any way you want. She's not just the Joker's plaything. She may come back to him over and over again, but that's because she wants to, not because she's forced to, or because he really needs her as a literary support. She's very capable of carrying out her own crime and has proved so dozens of times.
All right, thank you very much. Going back over to the Nerds. Nerds, please continue.
Well, the way I see it, Harley really isn't quite at the same level of insanity as River. River has her brain toyed with, but anyway. Harley is actually kind of mildly respectful in a way and can keep up appearances. She runs around, yes, in a black and red jumpsuit, but, I mean, if she needs to fit in, she can do it effortlessly. She is driven mad with love by a man who does not love her back. But when you think about it, there are hundreds of thousands of women out there every day who are in love with men who do not love them back. When you think about it, it kind of makes Harley kind of normal. She's just another lovesick girl.
Ooh.
And you know, like they said she was deadly, but I mean, I did research. And I read Preludes and Knock Knock Jokes. And you know, she plays with rockets and she's got a hammer. I mean, maybe if this was a competition about who would win at whack-a-mole, well, no, she probably still wouldn't win that either.
Oh, a little bit of trash talk. PigMonkey. It's the PigMonkey question. The PigMonkey question is, in order to be the most deadly escape lunatic, the candidate must show that they are dangerous beyond the ability to physically hurt people. Show how the character's life, mental state, and capabilities make them the most deadly. Geeks, begin.
Okay, so not only is Harley deadly with hand-to-hand combat, she also has access to Joker's huge, huge arsenal. She helped him develop a lot of those weapons. She's also a psychiatrist, so that means she understands the ins and outs of all of your brain. She would understand how to make use of River's amygdala, or lack thereof.
She's also like allied with the Joker. She's like his sidekick, who in all seriousness is one of the craziest villains out there. So she'd have to be fucking loony to like fall in love with him. And she gained the ability of hypnosis, using it to make everyone crazy and like lose their minds.
Harley wants people to underestimate her. She is purposely trying to downplay her own intelligence. She speaks and acts very childlike in an affected manner, but that's just to keep you off your guard. When she says she's throwing the cherry on top, she really means it's a grenade, and she understands that it will go boom. But she's trying to be cute about it.
Very good. Moving over to the nerds. Nerds, same question. Please show how the character's life, mental state, and capabilities have made them the most deadly. You have 2 minutes. Begin.
Okay, aside from eventually getting herself involved in one epically fucked up relationship, Harley's life was pretty generic. A model student, loving parents, hell, she probably sold cookies door to door and had sleepovers. After a childhood and adolescence of unprecedented genius, River was handed over to the academy, where they spent an untold amount of resources honing her into the universe's most perfect assassin. To achieve this end, they cut out whole parts of her brain. The end result was a girl anatomically incapable of sanity. Harley can smother you with her cleavage, but River can kill you with her brain.
And River's psychic. I mean, what started out as strong intuition later turned into full-on psychic abilities after her time at the academy. This combined with her fragile mental state is a pretty scary mix. She knows what you're thinking, she knows what you're afraid of, what your next move is going to be. It makes it better because she's trained to be a perfect assassin with skills in kung fu and in kickboxing. And because she is an expert mathematician, she can calculate the exact ways to kill you quickly and efficiently, and she won't get hurt doing so.
X equals f you up. Move on.
And you know, being insane doesn't actually have to make you be evil. I mean, how many times has River sensed something coming and everybody's like, what the fuck, River? Why you having all like spazzy and shit? And then she's like, and then Reavers come or something happens and then they're alerted by that because she's flipping her shit. She knows, and that's what saves their asses time and time again.
All right. Okay, we got 3 bags of crazy and we're gonna make them fight. It's time for who would win in a fight. This would be messy if we weren't dealing with crazy women. The fact that we're dealing with crazy women makes it bloody. So, Geeks, you have 2 minutes. Please explain to me how Harley would win in a fight over River. Begin.
So, as Firefly has shown us, it's pretty easy to lure Simon or River into a trap. Harley could make a video, a distress video, being like, oh, I need help, come help me, blah, blah, blah. So Mal, being a sucker, would agree to do it. He would drop off Simon and River at a sketchy-looking warehouse on the banks of Gotham Harbor, and she would trap them in a net and then lower them into a pit. She has these 2 darling babies, these hyenas. I know you've all seen them. They are bloodthirsty. They've ripped SWAT cops apart with their jaws. So she would lower River and Simon, who would now be reduced to tears, and River who probably would just, I don't know, shut down and sit there and do nothing like she likes to do. And they would be ripped apart by the hyenas. Messy, enjoyable, and delicious.
Insert evil Harley laughter. It doesn't matter where the fight takes place. The girls are duking it out when Harley giggles and says, "Etakurum no sme." River drops like a ton of bricks. Enter the hyenas and scene.
Nice. Beautiful. Well taken care of, Harley. Moving over to the nerds. Nerds, you have 2 minutes. Please explain to me a scenario in which River Tam beats on Harliquin. Begin.
This fight could start with River unarmed, standing right in front of Harliquin, and it would still be over before it began. Remember that whole mind thing? Let's face it, the best weapon Quinn might have against River is that ridiculous Brooklyn accent. 1 oversized hiking boot right to the abdomen, and Harley doubles over. At this point, the gravitational pull from her comically oversized breasts will finish the job, and Harley will end up face first on the pavement. Oh, and scene.
Everybody here has half to seen Serenity, right? I mean, of course, you really shouldn't be here if you haven't.
No, stay. If you haven't, you could still stay.
Well, you don't want anybody to know you haven't seen that movie. Just smile and nod. Okay, so you know Serenity, she's like, when the Reavers are coming, it's the last chance. They all know they're gonna die. She jumps in there, right? And it's the same situation only with Harliquin, but they probably wouldn't be that scared. Only instead of Reaver blood that's splattered everywhere, everyone's covered in clown blood.
Which is rainbow. All right, thank you very much. It's time for the scrap. You have your 5 minutes of open debate. Begin.
Reavers are no more people than zombies. They are no more people than zombies. They are pretty much the same thing, except they have some semblance of order to their horde. They're not f***ing people.
Zombies are dead. These people didn't die.
And they still eat. They're
They
just
look
eating
dead.
your
They look
living
dead to me.
flesh. They're eating, and I wanted to add as well, the fact that the Academy even needed a safe word for River just kind of proves how dangerous she is.
But there's a safe word,
But
so
they
the fight's
do.
over.
What's Harley's safe word?
Harley doesn't have a safe word.
Come on,
there's
girl.
no off switch.
I don't know. I
Like
think Harley and the Joker have a safe word.
That was only in the bedroom.
Oh.
And that word is frown.
And it doesn't put them to sleep.
And I mean, besides lovely Ivy over here, she does look pretty nice tonight. But the deadliest thing I've seen about Harliquin is half the cosplays. I said you looked good, okay?
By all
I said you
accounts.
looked good.
It's so fucking catty. This is such a catty match.
But
Rare.
But River speaks like the love child of an encyclopedia and Shakespeare.
So no one understands what she's saying and no one cares. And
But that's exactly the point. But that's exactly the point.
do they
Harley,
do they publish a translation next to everything she says so that people can follow along who are reading at a university level?
Her
kind of
own
way,
reality
which
is
is
so
way-
fractured, she can't tell the difference
but
between
it
what
is-
she's thinking, what you're feeling, and what might happen.
But it is way more deadly.
way.
Because
I don't know
River-
about you guys, but this all
I'm
became
not
just
getting into the
noise
middle of
5
this.
minutes
I'm gonna let
back.
that finish.
River,
It is coming up on the time for you guys to make your decision, but we've got final words. So, final words, nerds.
Harliquin might occasionally wield a weapon. River Tam is a weapon.
Final words, geeks.
Pow pow, mother.
Well, you've heard the arguments. It's time for this assembled crowd to render their decision. Do we hear it for River and the nerds? Or do we hear it for Harley and the geeks? I wasn't sure who won that one. I hereby declare that the deadliest escaped lunatic is Harliquin. Thank you for tuning into the Geeks vs. Nerds. Please tune in for the next show.
City like a big playground when suddenly Batman burst from the shade and hit Godzilla with a bat grenade. Godzilla got pissed and began to attack, but didn't expect to be blocked by Shaq, who proceeded to open up a can of Shaq Fu when Aaron Carter came out of the blue and he started beating up Shaquille O'Neal. Then they both got flattened by the Batmobile, but before he could make it back to the Batcave, Abraham Lincoln popped out of his grave and took an AK-47 out from under his hat and blew Batman away with a rat-a-tat-tat. But he ran out of bullets and he ran away because Optimus Prime came to save the day.